I want to encourage you to quit your job. I'm serious, quit your job. Now, not forever, of course, but just for a little bit. The thought of doing this might seem impossible because you're not quote unquote rich, but it won't be by the end of this video. We spend so much time focusing on the things that'll get us to a point where we can eventually quit our jobs and retire. But there's less emphasis put on what we're actually going to do once that day comes. What if I told you that you could test out retiring years and years sooner than you think you can? Oh, it's possible for every single one of you watching this. And the best part is that you don't have to be extremely wealthy to make it happen. We're thinking about this whole work-life thing all wrong. In the US, it's go to grade school, middle school, high school, college, work a job, then retire at 65 if you're lucky. But why does it have to be that way? Who's the idiot that made that rule, and why do most of us follow it? Because it's safe and it's comfortable. Safety and comfort is something that every single one of us seeks out because it feels good. You can't get injured, hurt, or lose anything as long as you take the path of least resistance. And that safe path looks like continuing to work for 40 plus years without an extended break until the day that you retire. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the concept of a mini retirement. We're going to cover the what, why, and how so you can get yourself in a position to be able to take advantage of one sooner rather than later. Hey, I'm Jarrad with 2 A's and 2 R's, and I like to talk about personal finance, investing, financial independence, and early retirement. Now, if you're not interested in any of that, then don't worry about subscribing and just enjoy the video because I made it for you. Please help feed my dog Molly by Hulk smashing that thumbs up button. She would love you as much as she loves to chase squirrels. All a mini retirement is when you choose to take an extended period of time off work. Now, this is different from a vacation in that those only last a couple of weeks per year when, of course, you have permission from your employer. Because, you know, you're still considered a child and they basically own you. If I had to put a number on it, then I'd say that anything lasts, we'll say at least 3 months, could be considered a mini retirement. The longer that it lasts, the more beneficial it becomes, but more about that in just a minute. Let's get this out of the way right now. Now, some people refer to this as a sabbatical, but I prefer mini retirement.
Haven't you ever been unemployed?
Hey, I am not unemployed. I'm on sabbatical.
Hey, don't get religious on me, okay?
Now, I know this bugs some people when it's called a mini retirement as opposed to a sabbatical. So if it bugs you that much, then I don't know, sorry not sorry. This is my YouTube channel and I kind of make the rules around here, but either way, call it whatever works best for you. I first came across this concept about 7 years ago when I, out of curiosity, read a book called Vagabonding. Now, in that book, the author described a certain group of people who would build their life around travel first and work second. This confused a small-brained person like me because the thought never crossed my mind that it was even possible to take an extended period of time out of the workforce once, let alone multiple times like these weirdos were doing. This concept sounds kind of strange because the normal way of thinking is to build our lives around work first and taking time off work second. These travelers would essentially work for a year or two, then travel for a year, then go back to work for another year or two, then head back on the road. They'd rinse and repeat this whole process for as long as they'd wanted. I didn't finish the book with the thought of wanting to travel overseas for long periods of time on a regular basis, but I did come away with being generally curious and interested in the part about setting your life up around being able to take little mini breaks from work leading up to retirement. In a nutshell, vagabonding is essentially one way to spend a mini retirement. Another way might be to just take one break from work between now and when you retire to kind of do whatever you want. Since my mind was initially incepted with this idea 7 years ago, I actually did meet a guy who quit a job where he was making $150,000 per year so that he could take a year and a half off work. So it's not like this is some black magic voodoo that you hear about on the internet. I actually met a guy who did this. I don't think that everyone needs or should take a mini retirement, but I do think that it's worth at least entertaining the thought in your head to kind of explore the idea to figure out if this would benefit you. If you don't feel the need to take one right now, then don't overlook the potential of you wanting to take one later down the line. A lot of things can change between now and a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It's a nice little option to keep in your back pocket just in case case you're looking to shake things up a bit in the future. How to tell if it's time to take a mini retirement is going to be personal and circumstantial to you. Now, sometimes it's just a matter of needing a change of scenery by getting a different job as opposed to quitting work altogether. I definitely suggest being careful of a false positive here, because if you try hard enough, then we could all find a way to talk ourselves into thinking that this is a good idea and that taking an extended period of time off work will solve all of our problems. A mini retirement isn't a quick fix for anything, so please don't treat it like that. Your mommy and daddy issues are going to follow you wherever you go, I promise. Well, at least until you decide to face those issues by eating some mushroom sandwiches or drinking some of that Amazonian brew made up of leaves and vines. No names, please, because we don't want to get demonetized. A mini retirement can have a ton of benefits beyond the surface level ones like, I just don't want to work. Now, if that's the only reason that you feel the need to take one, then this won't necessarily solve the problem that you have, because doing nothing has never been the solution for anything. Testing out what a retirement might look like could be a reason to take one. Retirement for most people is a long ways away, like 20, 30, or 40 years from now. But even though it's so far away, we all like to pretend like we know what we'll be doing at that point in time. Even sitting here speculating is basically impossible because very few of us have had an extended period of time off work in our adult lives, at least, to really know what we'd do with that much free time. That's why a mini retirement of some sort where you're not working for at least 3 months can be really beneficial. It'll give you an idea of what an actual retirement could look and feel like. Maybe you'll love it and maybe you'll absolutely hate it, but at the very least, it's going to help you get a little bit more clear on how to move forward with the rest of your life. If you're someone pursuing financial independence or early retirement, then a mini retirement will give you the ability to actually test out that lifestyle for a set period of time. Maybe you'll come to the realization that it's amazing, which in turn can motivate you to work harder to get there, and maybe you'll realize that this isn't as awesome as you thought it was, and it's not something that you're interested in any longer. Getting an extra 50 hours per week of your life back by not having to show up for a job will give you a chance to take a step back to reevaluate the things that you're doing day in and day out. You see, it can be really difficult to do this when the bulk of your week is taken up by a career. It just gets in the way and it doesn't leave much time to think about what we're doing and why we're doing it. I don't know about you, but I've had very few deep thoughts about my life and what I was doing while I was constantly going about my day with all of that noise and distraction around me. Sometimes it almost seems like we're all living a freaking zombie life by going through the motions with our eyes glazed over, living in the Matrix. With a mini retirement, you're forced to change up your lifestyle in a way that's impossible to do right now due to your current work or career obligations. A Gallup poll found that 85% of people are unhappy with their jobs. The funny thing about knowing that stat is that most of those people who aren't happy with their career won't actually do anything to change that. A lot of it could have to do with just being burnt out by doing the same type of job or working for the same company for a long period of time. But it can be difficult to actively choose to leave a nice, stable job that pays well to move on to something new, especially if you have a family that relies on your income. A mini retirement can be a good way to force yourself out of the current environment to make a change. It'll also give you a little time away from work to make a decision about what you want to do next with a clearer head. Don't get me wrong, the time taken for a mini retirement can surely go to waste if you're not careful. Now, it's cool to be lazy for a little while, but you absolutely need to have a good idea of some productive things that you can do while you're on your mini retirement. Not many people have the opportunity to do this once, let alone multiple times, and it might be your only shot. So the last thing that I'd want to see you do is waste it away playing around on the internet and watching Netflix or television. Think of this as your one shot to have an extended period of time off work until you eventually retire, because in most cases, this is going to be the reality. Having some leisure time baked in there is of course going to be important, but also having some regular time set aside for challenging and productive activities is going to be just as important as well. Okay, now we need to have the big boy and big girl conversation. Preparing to take some time off work is going to take some planning. Let's be honest, you're not going to be making money, which is super weird and a little bit scary, so this is extremely important. I'm all for winging it to a certain extent, but setting some boundaries will give you a fair bit of freedom while reducing the chances of completely destroying your finances to the point of having to cut the mini retirement short. Figuring out what you're going to be doing during your mini retirement and how long it's going to last is going to be a good place to start. If the current plan is to spend spend the majority of time where you currently live and venturing out to other states to explore here and there, then that amount of money that you need should be pretty simple to calculate. If you want to go into full-blown travel mode overseas, then that's going to take a deeper level of planning. Now, I've read about people doing this and essentially selling all of their things before hitting the road. Then once their mini retirement was done, they could choose to live anywhere because they technically didn't have a home to go back to. If you are the traveling type, then I suggest starting out by checking out that vagabonding book that I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. The author does a really good job of walking you through a lot of those steps. So how much do you need to cover your expenses? Well, locking in the food, housing, and transportation is a good place to start. After that, I'd start accounting for things like health insurance, travel expenses, and entertainment as well. Health insurance is probably one of the biggest concerns for US citizens, so I'll cover that specifically in just a minute. Think of it like creating a little monthly budget for yourself that's optimized around how you want to spend your time. If you want to get super nerdy about the whole thing, then create a low, mid, and high-end budget to kind of figure out what your best and worst case scenarios are going to be. From there, it's a simple math equation based on how many months you're planning to be out of work. Keep in mind that just because you're taking a mini retirement, don't feel like you have to live like someone who is broke. I'd say to live as comfortably as you want. If it were me though, I'd say to make sure that you have a little bit of extra cash set aside every month just in case. But don't skimp out if you don't want to, because remember, this is a mini retirement and you might not get another chance to do this ever again. So make sure that you're going to take full advantage of it and have enough money aside so that you don't feel like you're skimping out on a lot of things. For most, this isn't going to be something someone can achieve within the next couple of months. The process of saving up enough money is probably going to take at least a year. I personally wouldn't suggest stopping investing money every month while you save up, but portioning a little bit towards building up a mini retirement fund will give you a chance to get the best of both worlds. Here's the thing, once you have a goal in front of you, like saving up enough for a mini retirement that you want to take within the next, we'll say 3 to 5 years, the motivation to get there is going to start taking over. It can be a lot of fun knowing that the hard work that you're putting in today to earn some extra cash or save here and there is going to mean that you get to take a full year off work. Heck, even if you don't want to take a mini retirement, it could be worth pretending like you're going to help set some extra money aside. Okay, now we need to have the health insurance talk, which I know a lot of people have questions about. I've heard from some people that the cost of health insurance alone is the main reason that they keep their job. If you've worked for companies that have always given you health insurance, then you probably have no idea where to start to estimate what your costs will be. There's a few options out there, but I'll cover the main two that I suggest looking into. The two I'd suggest are either using Cobra Insurance or looking for a plan through the healthcare.gov website. Cobra Insurance is provided through the employer that you would be leaving. Now, by law, they're required to offer it to you for 18 months after you leave. So if you take a year-long mini retirement and you want to use that Cobra Insurance, you should be covered. Cobra Insurance gives you access to the same health insurance options that the employer that you're leaving has offered you while you're working there. You can either get the exact same insurance you have right now, or keep it, I should say, or sometimes they'll give you the option to sign up for one of the other options that they offered you when you initially signed up for that particular year. The biggest difference is that you'll have to pay the full monthly premium, whereas right now, your employer most likely covers a portion of that monthly premium. This is something that a lot of people don't realize because it doesn't necessarily show up as a line item on your pay stub. It's easy to forget that most employers cover a percentage of the monthly premium, which makes it less expensive for us, so keep that in mind. How much that percentage is going to be different for all of us, so the best thing to do is try to find out from your HR department the amount that they cover, then add that amount to the amount that you pay every single month. Don't quote me on this one, but from what I hear, Cobra Insurance usually comes out to be a little bit more expensive than the option I'm going to tell you about right now, because your employer does, of course, they cover a percentage of your monthly premium. Once you know that number, the next place to check on prices is through the healthcare.gov website, where you can see the options available there. And just so you know, you can actually go into this healthcare.gov website and you can just browse current rates. So you don't really have to sign up for anything. You can just look for current rates. You put in your zip code and then you can see all of your options. It's tough to say whether one or the other is going to be more expensive because every employer has so many different options, and there's a ton of different plans on that healthcare.gov website. If you are fortunate enough to be in a situation where you and your significant other both have healthcare plans through work, then maybe you both can alternate mini retirement years. One year you do it and hop on their insurance plan, and then the next year they do a mini retirement and they hop on your health insurance plan. But if you're like me and you don't have a significant other, then that's not really an option. Now we've got to come back to reality because there of course is going to be an end to your mini retirement. When it comes to going back to work, it's good to know that there might be some questions about that gap in your resume. I'm sure HR people are going to be a little bit curious as to why you weren't working for an extended period of time. There's probably a few ways to explain this. Number one, you can either just make something up and lie, or number two, you can tell them the truth and put the fact that you took a mini retirement on your resume. If you do decide to put it on your resume, then maybe list out some of your accomplishments during that time or some things that you learned or did. This will be a great conversation starter during that in-person interview. If I were an HR person hiring someone for a position, then that would probably interest me and make a candidate stand out more than others. But quick disclaimer, I'm kind of a weirdo who is very open-minded, so maybe I'm wrong. I do plan on contacting a few HR people to get their take on this whole situation and their point of view because I'm actually kind of curious. When I gather that info, I will be sharing it in our private financial independence group. Link to get on that waiting list is down in the description. Don't forget to Hulk smash that thumbs up button before you go, and feel free to ask any questions or leave any comments down below. In the description, I'll have a link to get on the waiting list for our private financial independence group that's going to be opening soon. Down there, you'll also find free stocks, resources, and playlists to help with your financial independence and investing needs. Watch these financial independence videos to your left next. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Done.